folks, and welcome back to my channel. It's Luna Rose back once again with another video. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe, be much appreciated. I usually do reviews on TV series, movies, trailer reactions and all that good stuff. Sometimes music from time to time. But anyway, we're here to talk about the topic of all topics. There's only one topic, to be honest, and that's Avengers Endgame. Now, I was a bit tentative about doing this video, but I started my channel because I wanted to be authentic and give my views as a couch critic to all these wonderful movies and TV series and music and all that good stuff. So, as I say, I was a bit tentative in doing this video because I was thinking, man, they're going to drag the hell out of me. But you know what, I've got to be candid, I've got to be honest. So please get comfy, grab yourselves a cup of tea, a drink or whatever beverage, and please comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this movie. I want people to be candid and honest about this movie. Yeah, so without further ado, here we go. I had the opportunity to watch this movie on Friday. Gosh, what a ride, guys. I really enjoyed the movie. It was a really good movie. Now, was it a great movie? Was it like a masterpiece? I would reserve masterpiece for movies like Avengers Infinity War. I adored Avengers Infinity War. This is a really good movie, but for me, Avengers Infinity War will remain my favorite MCU movie. But this was a really good movie. I mean, I literally cried from the start all the way to the end. I think I cried about 4 times at this movie. But that doesn't negate the fact that this movie had a few issues. Now, the dust has settled. Now, after watching the movie, I got back into my car and I was so emotional. As I say, I cried throughout this movie, from the first scene to, well, it wasn't the first scene, but from the scene from Iron Man with Nebula and the spaceship all the way to the end. I think I cried, as I say, like 4 or 5 times, but I was a hot mess. But I got back to my car, I was really hyped, I was like really emotional. I didn't know how to like process my thoughts of this movie because it kind of had me all over the place. It was like, yeah, that was really a roller coaster ride, and it made me cry and such, and the way the movie ended. By the way, this is going to be a spoiler video, so if you haven't watched the movie, please watch the movie, then revert back to my channel and let's discuss. I had a lot of emotions, I felt my reaction. And yeah, but as I say, the dust has settled and I've now had time to think about the movie and just reflect about the movie. And to be honest, I had these feelings as I was watching the movie, but I didn't want to talk too much at that point. I just wanted to enjoy the high points of the movie and yeah, enjoy that moment. But this is going to be a very honest, candid review video. Discussion video. I'd love to hear your comments. Please comment below. I want to get this discussion going, because you know we're going to be discussing Endgame for a long time now, because this was one of the biggest releases in history. Let's just be honest, it really was. I mean, 22 movies up until this point, and now we've finally experienced Endgame. So Endgame, a great movie, a masterpiece. No, a great movie, a masterpiece, no, but a really good movie / great. Yes, it was, but a masterpiece, no, it wasn't. Did it meet expectations? In terms of the plot line, yes, I saw many things coming. I saw many things like what happened to Iron Man, what happened to Captain America. I always knew that he was going to, if he's going to go back in time, Charlie's going to go back for his woman, okay? That was his story arc. I kind of saw that coming, and I thought that it would be Captain America and Tony Stark to die, but it's Tony Stark. But anyway, I saw it was kind of predictable at certain points of the movie, but I still was happy with how the movie ended. I think it's a great completion, a great finish to all these 22 movies. But as I say, that doesn't negate the fact that this movie had a few issues which I wish they would have tweaked a bit. Now, I'm one of those people, I'm sure we're all one of those people, that I wish I had viewed one of those people who viewed the raw cut before, you know, this movie was released, because I don't know, for me personally, maybe my views is not, you know, shared with everyone else. Maybe I'm just unique in what I think about, you know, the tweaks that I would have made to this film. But man, you're gonna drag me. I know you're gonna drag me, because I was like really tentative in putting this video up and actually filming this video, but I've got to be candid, I've got to be honest. I started my channel because I wanted to give my views just like everyone else. I'm a couch critic. And I really appreciate the art that these directors and writers and the whole crew give us. But you know, I'm a viewer, I'm a fan, and I like to give my opinion, just the same as I would do with Beyonce. I'm part of the Beehive, but I'm very critical of my girl. But the thing is, somehow she always, you know, impresses me even more than I expected, aka Coachella. But I'm not here to talk about that. Park that. We're here to talk about Endgame. So Endgame. The first thing I would have tweaked about this movie, Hulk. Now don't get me wrong, I love the whole concept of Professor Hulk. Love that. It was cute at the start. The amalgamation of, you know, Bruce Banner and Hulk, yeah, I liked. It was, I love the CGI amazing. But I felt that Hulk was ultimately a bit wasted in this film. Just a bit wasted. I was hoping for, you know, the end fight scene was epic, as I say, it was amazing. But I was hoping for that Thanos v Hulk smackdown. I was hoping for that fight scene. That fight scene, because the Russo brothers, what they're good at, what they're great at, I think what they completely own is a great fight sequence. The way it's choreographed is just, they just win hands down. And a fight scene between Hulk and Thanos at the end would have been, even just the thought of it, just the thought, what a moment that would have been. And I was like, when that moment didn't happen, I was like, what are you doing? I was like, what? How could you not do that? A fight scene between those two? I mean, as revenge for, you know, Infinity War. I mean, I just thought that was a moment missed. I was like, how could they look? I was like, anyway, that was one of the first things I was like, it was a bit of a moment wasted and an opportunity missed. I wish they had given us that smackdown. I know the Russo brothers, they would have given us like a Rocky type fight scene and we would have been punching the air with Hulk, you know, it would have been amazing. And I feel that, you know, that was a moment missed. The second issue about this movie, what's the second issue? What can I give you? Okay, let's start off with the pacing of the movie, the first half of the movie. I think there's a general consensus about this. The pacing of the movie, I know it's not going to be the same as Infinity War, completely different movie. I understand that, I get that, but the pacing was a bit slow, and this was throughout the majority of the movie. It kind of picked from I can't really say the second act, no, it was like halfway through to the end, or like the last quarter of the movie. That's when it really picked up, the momentum picked up, and that's why I was like kind of sat forward and, you know, I was like, yeah, come on, you know. Don't get me wrong, I love dialogue, I love quiet moments, I love reflection and contemplation, especially what happened after the snap. There's going to be those quiet moments, granted, give me that, but I wanted more emotion. If you're going to give me that kind of slow pacing, I would have appreciated the aftermath of Wakanda. I would have loved to have seen Okoye trying to, you know, comprehend what has happened, losing the king, losing the princess, and just about, you know, half of the army and half of the people of Wakanda. I would have liked to have seen Okoye's response to that, and aftermath of Wakanda. I would love to have seen a bit of that. You don't need to show too much, at least like maybe 10 minutes of that would have been enough for me. And I also would have liked a bit more emotion from Iron Man when he's talking about Spider-Man, when Captain Marvel loved her, when she saved the day, when she, you know, brought them back to Earth and whatnot, cool. But, you know, when they were having that conversation at headquarters, I would have loved a bit more of Iron Man speaking about Spider-Man and losing Spider-Man, because let's just be honest, Avengers Infinity War, the main heartbreaking moment was when, you know, Iron Man lost Spider-Man, because it was like a father-son relationship, and that's what broke many people down. I mean, obviously losing Vision was a heartbreaking moment, losing Black Panther and Okoye was a heartbreaking moment, but the moment when Iron Man lost Spider-Man, that's what, you know, I think there's a general consensus about that. That was the most heartbreaking scene in Avengers Infinity War, and I would have liked that coupled with, I would have liked Endgame, I would have liked Iron Man to show a bit more dialogue in that regard about losing Spider-Man, about losing people. And yes, he did break down and he did rip, you know, that battery from his chest and whatnot, but you know, I would have liked it a bit more. Maybe that's me, maybe I'm just like a very emotional such and such, but you know, but I would have liked a bit more at that point. And Ant-Man, oh my goodness, I was hoping that Ant-Man would be a bit more autonomous in terms of the quantum realm and time travel. I was like, yeah, he's going to lead in this regard. But the fact that, you know, the whole quantum realm and whatnot was a bit almost futile without Iron Man. I was hoping that there'll be more. Well, I was just hoping that Ant-Man will kind of take a more leader approach in, you know, with regards to the whole quantum realm, as opposed to having to revert back to Iron Man, so they were able to figure out what to do next. It was like, okay, must everything be reliant on Iron Man? You know, I know this is mainly his story arc, but, you know, I was hoping that Ant-Man will just kind of, and if they're going to figure out, you know, how to go back in time and time travel and whatnot, I was hoping it would be a bit more of a team approach with, you know, Iron Man, Ant-Man and Bruce Banner working together to figure out the time travel element, rather than one person figuring it out and then reintroducing it back to the team. I was just, it's very minor, but I was just hoping, I was thinking, you know what, that was Ant-Man's gig. You know what, you know, Tony, I love you, but that was Ant-Man's gig, and that was like, I thought, you know, I didn't really need that. What else? Yes, Ronan or Hawkeye throughout the majority of the movie. Now, looking at the trailers, I love the trailers, you know, I was thinking, oh yeah, we're gonna get Ronan, this is so cool, this is super dope. But the majority of the movie was literally Hawkeye. It's like, okay, we got a snippet of Ronan and then we reverted back to Hawkeye. I was like, okay, that was a bit wasted, or whatever. Maybe they're going to have in the next Marvel movie, we'll see Ronan. I don't know, but I just felt that, you know, I could have done with a touch more of the Ronan, you know, serve me more of that, and I was like feeling that. And then when we kind of like reverted back to Hawkeye, I was like, okay, hello, goodbye, Ronan. I don't know, that's just me. It's a minor, but I just could have done with a bit more. Like, give me some more, you know. And Asgard, and my lovely, well-rounded Thor, shall we say. My cute little Viking. I love the whole Asgard island concept. I loved it. I thought that was really, really cute. But I was thinking, Valkyrie and Cork, how did they get back? I thought that was a bit rushed. I was like, okay, did I miss something? Do I have to revert and watch something back again? Because how did these two survive, you know, the spaceship? You know, I just thought, okay. I thought that they were going to bring them back. I thought that they had died, but to see them on, you know, Asgard Island, I was like, okay, how did that happen? When, where, how, and who? You know, I just thought that, you know, must I excuse that and brush it under the carpet? Just, okay, they're alive, you know, this is cool, let's go. You know, I just felt, this is a bit odd, but I guess let's go. But on reflection, I was like, man, they didn't really need, you know, they could have tweaked that out. And you know, Thor as he was enough of Asgard. I didn't need anyone else. And it kind of, I don't know, that whole scene kind of gave me Aquaman type tease. It was so weird. I just felt Aquaman when I watched that whole, you know, new Asgard scene. I don't know. Not that it's a bad thing, you know, it's a cute thing, but what I found a bit odd was the whole Valkyrie and Cork being back. I just thought that was just a bit, how'd that happen? And another thing. I'm sorry to go in on this movie because I did really enjoy it, but I just, on reflection, I just thought, the whole thing about getting the Infinity Stones. Yes, we always knew that they had to go back in time and kind of jump into the previous movies, which I absolutely adored that whole idea. But I could have done a lot more of the Avengers attempting and failing. I could have done a bit more of that, a bit more. I didn't want the whole 14 million blah 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 blah, no, but I could have done with a bit more of their attempts and failures. I felt like, you know, Tony Stark going back to the 1960s or 70s and getting his father's suit and getting this, taking the stone. I just thought that was a bit too easy. You know, I loved the whole thing of him seeing his father. That was cute. I loved that. But the way they got the stones was just too easy, just too convenient, too easy. I guess this was the one option which, you know, Doctor Strange was talking about, but I just felt, you know, I would have liked to have seen the attempts and failures, and I thought that scene was just a bit too easy, a bit too convenient. I don't know, that's just me. Maybe I'm just complicated, but I just felt it was a bit too easy. Yeah, I think that's it. Oh, and the epic fight scene at the end. Yes, God knows that fight scene was everything. That fight scene was just tantalizing and delicious and everything. I felt like that moment I sat up, I was like in the groove. I was like, yes, bitch. When what do you call it? Woo! When Falcon was like on your left, I was like, And then when you see the portal, I was like, bitch, that whole scene was everything. When my husband walked through, or Black Panther, when he walked through, I was like, yes, bitch, he walked through his sister and Okoye. I was like, oh my God, you were serving me everything. But I could have done with a different chant. That Mbappe, I love that in Infinity War, but can you serve me something else? You know, give me a different chant. I don't know, maybe I'm just it's just too critical, but I could have done with a different chant. I'm sure they could have come up with something different, something more amazing, even though that chant was amazing, but I could have dealt with a different chant. I thought that was a bit kind of, I won't say lazy, I just could have dealt with something else, you know? Well, yes, the fight scene, amazing. I'll talk about the stuff I did love, but with that fight scene, I could have dealt with a different chant. And I love the whole, you know, female Avengers to a point. To a point, it was cute, but I kind of like. Oh no, let me get into that realm. But it was okay. The female Avengers was okay. It was okay. And Thor, yes, my cute rounded Thor, my cute drunk little Viking. Wow, funny as you know what, but I think him as drunken Thor kind of lingered on a bit too long for me. I was hoping that he'll get it together, and you know, I loved his look right at the end, you know, with his braided beard and, you know, looking like a Viking. I love that. But you know, the drunken Thor I felt was a bit too much. It was cute to start off with, but I was like hoping that he'll snap back and get it together a bit earlier on in the movie. As I say, that's what I mean about the pacing. Certain things could have happened a bit earlier on in the movie, like Thor getting his shit together, Thanos. I love the whole thing of Thanos. You know, looking at Nebula's visions, looking at her memories, and kind of identifying who's who. And you know, I wish that happened a bit earlier on in the movie, but maybe that's just me. I don't know. Maybe I'm picky. I'm being too picky. I don't know. Comment below. What do you guys think? The other thing that didn't sit right with me about this movie, not didn't sit right with me, but I just thought it was a bit overkill, to say the least. Pardon the pun, but you know, the fact that we lost Iron Man at the end, I didn't need too much of. I really had him being stabbed by Thanos in the first movie. Then he almost dies in the spaceship. Then he has to be sedated when they're back on Earth, and you know, he's all like emaciated. It's like, okay, team too much. How many times are we going to see this man almost dying and surviving? It's like, you know, that was a bit too much. Why can't it be somebody else? Yeah, so I felt that was a bit overkill. It didn't take away from the emotion at the end. I mean, hell, I was crying. I was absolute mess at the end of the movie. I was like crying like I lost a family member. Well, not exactly, but you know, I was a hot mess. But it was, yeah, it didn't take away from that last scene, but I felt it was a bit too much. Almost dying, surviving. Maybe I'm just, you know, going a bit too far with that one. I don't know. I just that was unnecessary for me. I didn't need to see Iron Man almost dying how many times in these last two movies. Now, as for the stuff I loved about this movie, and there is a hell of a lot I loved about this movie. I left the cinema with 3 words in my head: love, friendship, family. For me, that was the common thread. That was the thread of the movie. That was the theme of the movie. And I loved that. Very emotional movie. I say I could have done with a bit more of the emotional side from certain characters, but I loved the theme. The main theme of the movie was that: love, friendship, family. Adored that. The other main thing I loved about this movie was, yes, them going back in time. I loved the scene with Captain America in the lift, and he was like, "Hell Hydra." I was like, bitch, that's how you do it. I loved that scene. I thought we were gonna get another fight scene, but this was like when he just took care of business with the Hell Hydra. I was like, oh, okay, I love that. I thought that scene was badass. The other scene that stuck out for me, obviously the fight scene at the end, the choreography with So can we just get a pause for the cause for Black Panther? When he was like holding the gauntlet and he was fighting the aliens, I was like, oh, there goes my husband, child. That whole fight scene, as I say, the Russo brothers, they just know about fight scenes. They're just the best. They're just the connoisseurs. And I thought Black Panther, the way he was holding the gauntlet and fighting everyone and whatnot, I was like, oh, there goes my husband. Love that whole fight scene. And can we just take a moment for how gorgeous Captain America looked in this throughout this movie? The costume, his garms, the leather jacket, he just looked gorgeous throughout this movie. I thought, yeah, that's the Captain America, another one of my husbands. Yes, please. Another thing I loved about the movie, as I say, the end fight scene was absolutely epic, delicious, everything. As I say, I could have done with the Hulk v Thanos fight scene. I could have dealt with that. I could have done with that, but I wasn't served that part of the pie, so a little bit missing, but everything else was amazing. Yeah, so that's my thoughts. So, overall, it is a good movie. It is a really good movie, but it is not the masterpiece that I hoped for. I'm just talking off the top of my head from what I can remember. I've done no notes. I'm just talking off the top of my head from things I can remember off the cuff. That's, I felt, ooh, I would have tweaked that. I would have taken that out. Was that necessary? And blah de blah. So those are the main points. I would say issues. I won't call them problems. Issues for me. Yeah. So please comment below. Don't come for me. I'm just like, I'm a fan. I adore the Russo brothers. But for a movie to beat Avatar, it has to be a masterpiece, and I think they had already done that with Infinity War. For me, that was the movie that should have knocked Avatar off its perch. For me, off its pedestal, Infinity War is that movie. This is really, really good, but for me, Infinity War was just complete, concise, had all the right ingredients, had the right pacing, the action scenes were just unique. And everything was just on point in Infinity War. I fell in love, I won't say fell in love with, but I really liked Thanos in Infinity War as opposed to this movie. Thanos in Infinity War, he was that kind of lovable villain. In this movie, he was just a villain, and I didn't really have that much of a rapport with Thanos. I know this wasn't his movie. Infinity War was Thanos' movie. This was more, well, this was Iron Man's movie. But I don't know, I didn't have that connection with Thanos in this movie. I could have done. I guess with any movie you could do with a villain. But yeah, this was Iron Man's movie. Yeah. So yeah, a good movie, a masterpiece, no. For me, a few of those tweaks, and I think, I'm sorry to go in, but nothing I thought was a bit kind of overkill. How many times am I going to see that snap? It's like, okay, team too much. Can we just get one snap and let it be done? I didn't need to see this person snapping, that person snapping, and this attempt. And it was, on reflection, I could have just done with the one snap, child. And I did snap when Chitala came walking through. I was like, oh God, it's so cute. But anyway, I think there was too much of the snaps. But maybe am I too critical? Comment below. I'd love to know your thoughts. Do you think this movie deserves to knock Avatar off its pedestal, or do you think that medal goes to Infinity War? Do you think Infinity War is a better movie? Me, I think Infinity War hands down better movie. This really, really, really good. I'd like to hear what you would have tweaked about this movie. I'd like to hear your comments to my AKA issues about this movie. Do you agree, or do you think I need to get on some sort of medication? Or do you think, do you agree with what I'm saying? Or, if you counter what I think, please comment below. Let's get the discussion going. Yeah, so that's me rabbiting on once again. Yeah, that's me done for the day. I am going to watch the movie again. I'll probably have a different view once I watch it again. I'm watching it tonight. Yeah, Russos, I love you. You're amazing, you did your damn thing, it was a beautiful conclusion. But I would have had a few tweaks to this movie. Yeah, so anyway, please give me a thumbs up. I hope you've enjoyed my video, me rabbiting on and on and on. Yeah, so yeah, anyway guys, I'll see you soon, and yeah, I'd love to read your comments below. Alright, take care guys, bye.